video long because I'm watching football. My Eagles are winning versus Tampa Bay. So I was on this website called Tread. It's affiliated with Instagram. And I saw this post, and they were talking about how Christianity is being attacked. Now, we just had this thing of the rapture, you know what I mean, that went on through Christianity. And, everybody thought they were going to go to heaven, that were Christian. Like, I just don't understand one thing. Why, ever since Charlie Kirk died, you know, they're using religion as a way to, talk about how things are going on. Like, Christianity to me is a cult, and I will always believe that. Religion is nothing but a cult. And the reason why people that are Christian believe that they're the only ones that can't be touched by nobody else's religion is because it's a white religion. It's a uh, religion of white supremacy and many other things. It just doesn't make any sense that you have to use a religion to cover up all of your mistakes that you have done throughout your life. Like, I posted something on somebody that said that uh, children, you know, are innocent. And I said, it's true. Children doesn't have any sin. Children don't know nothing about sin. Children know nothing about hate. The only thing they know is to love their mother and their father and their family. Somebody called me a name. Why is it that a name of a religion, which God never calls himself or Jesus ever called himself Christian, they created Christianity to create a wall of, just like how the Romans did it when they created Christianity. They created Christianity to, you know, cover up all the bad things they had done throughout their history. And Constantine did the same thing because Constantine thought he was, equal to God because he created a statue next to the Roman Colosseum, and he thought he was equal to God. So he built this large statue. And when he created, well, he recreated Christianity because he written a book. He recreated Christianity and rewritten the book of the Bible. And you know, it's just funny. It's sad because why do why is a religion such a thing that people hover over other people's heads and try to force them to believe in God and Jesus? If somebody don't believe in your God or your Jesus, why are you trying to force them into believing or say, well, they need to be saved and all this other kind of stuff? Why do you care that I be saved? Because if you believe in your God and you believe in your Jesus, you don't need nobody else to step on your toes to get into heaven. Now, it's so sad because religion is such a bad thing. It is. It's a cult. It is a cult. It's actually a whole bunch of people following a religion to follow two other spiritual, you know, things that they never met Jesus. They never seen Jesus. They never seen God. They never seen the archangels and Michael and Gabriel. They never seen Mary. They never seen Joseph. They never seen Mary Magdalene. They never seen David. They never seen Paul. They never seen any of these people. Only thing they do is talk about the Bible. That's all Christians do is talk about the Bible. That's all they do. And then when you bring up something about, well, have you ever seen God? Or if somebody didn't believe in God, ask them to show them proof of God, they'll say faith. Because it says in the Bible, you should only have faith to order to believe. Why do I need faith to believe in someone? Like, my mother is dead. I know my mother's dead. Do I need faith to keep her alive? No. because I knew she was alive and I knew that she died. Nobody has ever seen Jesus on a cross. It says it in the Bible, but they said, well, eyewitnesses. Yes, there was a lot of eyewitnesses, so-called say, but there was a lot of eyewitnesses to a lot of people that got crucified on the cross. Children even got crucified on the cross. They used to leave the bodies laying on the ground, or they used to leave the bodies on the crosses, and they will never bury them. What made Jesus so special to put him into a tomb by some rich man, you know? And then on top of that, it's so crazy that a shooting of a church will make people believe that Christianity is being attacked because of a shooting in a church. They didn't talk about the Walmart that being shot up. They never talked about the schools that are being shot up. So is that has to do with religion? Because when that school was shot up during the day of Charlie Kirk, they never said anything about it. Or when there's attacks on them colleges, when them white supremacists came to the college and was trying to sit out there and try to do Charlie Kirk's bidding, or try to do the same thing that Charlie Kirk did when Kirk was going to all these colleges and speaking at all these colleges. These two white guys did the same fucking thing, but nobody. And even today, you had Donald Trump sending troops to Portland. Like, are you serious? But nobody say anything about religion being attacked. Why is it has to be a religion being attacked? What does a religion have? God doesn't care about anything but the people that he created. That means he created everybody in his image. So 8 billion people that he created in his image. Now, this was so-called said. People believe that he is a god. He's actually an entity, but you can't prove it. But when you say, well, he created 8 billion people, oh, no, he did not. He only created Christians. So you telling me he only created Christians? He created a religion that the Jews wanted to create first, before the Romans came out of nowhere and took the religion and many other religions and made it into one religion. And Constantine rewritten the Bible, hated women, tried to exploit women and destroy women. And then on top of that, he conquered with the Bible, not just conquering with the Bible, he spread the Bible around, not just the Spaniards and many other. And honestly, they said slavery is just, but when you look at the way slavery was just in the Bible, God actually was telling you to kidnap motherfuckers and saying that the woman or the children could not ever not be freed as slaves, but the man can. How is it that you believe in that? If slavery was such a bad thing during the time of the European slavery trade and even the Arab trade, the Dutch and also the Portuguese, how is it that you believe that slavery is just? And somebody said, "Well, I would love to have been a slave." What? What is wrong with people? Why are people using religion as a door to question everybody of what they believe and how they live? God is not in everybody's house. And I don't believe God should be in everybody's house if nobody believes. God shouldn't be in everybody's house. Because you want everybody to believe in God. That's your God. It's not my God. And Jesus is not my Jesus. Because like I said, I never met the man. I never seen God. And even if I do go to that faith, I will never still see God because God doesn't show his face to sin. And you believe that he's going to come back during the rapture, which it happened 5 times. And every time it happened, the prophecy never came true. But people really believe these prophecies are real. It is a book. It's a freaking book made and created by man. Man, by men. Popes, priests, reverends, kings, and all these men that sat around a table and said, how we're going to take this out the Bible, put this in the Bible, we're going to ban this out the Bible, keep this in the Bible. And then they rewrite it over and over and over and over again. Because you have people that are so gullible that I never thought I would actually believe that people actually will follow somebody they've never seen before. It's like following a ghost that you've never seen before, but he's always in your house making noise. Well, he said, it don't make any sense to me. Grown people, these are grown people. During this thing called the rapture, the 23rd and 24th, people were actually crying. People were actually sold their things. People actually was out there standing around waiting until 12 midnight to be taken. Then they got ignorant the next day when they said they were going to apologize. They got ignorant with people the next day because they told them that the rapture was never going to happen. Even Christians were even saying that the rapture was never going to happen. And they got mad at the Christians. This is the reason why I don't believe in religion, because religion is such a dirty thing. Because it's been dirty for many centuries. Ever since religion was created, from having a whole bunch of gods to praising one God, then they want to say there's no religion like Christianity. All religions are lies. Christianity is the truth. How is Christianity the truth when Christianity is just a religion? How? It's just a religion. It's a name. Why are people running around trying to tell people you should turn into a Christian because you need to? Because if you don't, oh, it's a nice run back. Oh, it's a nice run back. Oh, shit. If you don't believe in God, you're going to go to hell. Why do I have to bow down to somebody I don't see? Why do I need to use faith in order for me to believe in something that I don't see? Why can't you prove to me God exists? Besides giving me the Bible and placing it on the table, prove to me that God exists without the Bible. They can't do that because you know why people can't prove God without the Bible? Because the Bible's the only thing that they read. Because if it was anything the fuck else about God, they could not prove it. Because the only thing they do is read these stories that were created in the Bible by men. But they say these are the words of God. If it was the words of God, why did God talk about a lot of death? Why did God like to see people suffer? Why did God make women look so vulnerable to men? Why was Adam given 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 power to actually make Lilith leave the garden, but God gave him another woman in Eve, but Eve was not even submissive to him either, because Eve really actually was the one that made Adam do a lot of stupid shit because he lusted over her. He wanted to have sex with her so bad that he actually did things that he was not even supposed to do in the Garden of Eden, like eat the fruit from the tree when he was told not to. And Eve tricked him. And not even about tricking, that you know that women were smarter than men at that time, because if Adam wasn't dumb, he would have never ate the apple. But he did because he was lusting for Eve. He did anything for her. And even the animals said, yo, stay away from that fruit. But he didn't listen because men were stupid. And to this very day, I believe that men and women are very, very lost, because now you have your head dipped into this book telling you to read your book, read your book, read your book. Prove to me that God exists. Prove to me that Jesus existed. And why is it that we keep on talking about Jerusalem and these places that Jesus was born thousands of miles away from the United States? People are actually saying that, yeah, they're going to have a war here. But why does it have to be a war there? Because he was born there? Because Jesus was born in Bethlehem, or he was around Jerusalem, they have to have a war there? They can't have no war in any other parts of the planet? Because they said that's a holy city? How is it a holy city? It's created in the mind of fantasy to be a holy city. Because they're making a lot of money over there in Jerusalem. They're making a lot of money of making up these stories of how Jerusalem is this holy place. Billions of dollars. And you got people going there looking at all these relics that they could have made their freaking selves to make you actually believe that this is where Jesus came from. And nobody don't even know anywhere Jesus came from. To this very day, don't even know where Jesus was born. To this very day, don't even know Jesus' birthday. To this very day, they don't know when Jesus was crucified. They don't know. They don't know when he was reborn. I mean, when he came back from the dead. Nobody fucking knows because they made up these days like Easter. They made up these days like Christmas. They made up these days, the Roman calendar that we use to this very day. They made up these days. So why is it that nobody can prove to me that Jesus and God existed? Show me proof. Show me proof. Besides showing me a scripture or this long ass scriptures of 20 pages in the Bible and I gotta look for Duke 3, 4, 5, and 6. No. Prove to me that he exists. And I don't want to hear nothing about faith. I don't want to hear nothing about that bullcrap. I'm sick and tired about hearing about faith. I want to see an image of a God. I want to see an image of Jesus, not no white image. I don't want to see no picture of something inside of a church. I want to see a real, actual image of Jesus. If Jesus really existed, and they have all these different types of art of Jesus, you know what I mean? All these different types of artwork of all different nationalities of Jesus. But I want to see the real Jesus. Where is he really buried? Where's his body? Then they want to tell you that his body was stolen because that's the only way Christians can say, well, he existed, but his body was stolen. It's like the same thing that Abraham Lincoln's body was stolen. You know what I mean? They found his body. So why can't they find the body of Jesus? Why can't they prove that God exists by not using the Bible or faith? Tell me why. And why do Christians get angry when we don't believe in your God? I never said I believed in Muhammad. I never said I believed in any of these other gods. I never believed in the Roman God. I never believed in any of these gods. So even if they could prove a point to me by showing me, but at least the Roman gods were actually proven because they actually had artwork of them. Even the Greek gods, even the Egyptian gods. To this very day, I got a whole bunch of Egyptian gods on my freaking on my pictures in my picture archives. I got a whole bunch of. I got Horus. I got Submit. I got all different. I got Isis. All of them, and you could prove that there were gods because they actually have paintings of them, and it's like 30 of them, 50 of them, like 100 of them. But you know what? It wasn't. They wasn't afraid to try to prove that their gods exist. They didn't hide behind a Bible. They didn't hide behind their temples or pyramids. They didn't hide behind the book of the dead or the book of the living or the book of life. They didn't hide behind that. They didn't hide behind their 45 commandments. They didn't hide behind that. The Mayans didn't even hide the fact that they believed in multiple gods. They believed in the dragon as being a god. You know what I mean? They got Chinese and you got the Hindu, the Indians, you got the Native Americans that believe all different gods. They even had artwork of their gods because their gods were many gods of like the ocean, the rivers, the bison, the stars, the planets. They believe in multiple gods. So how can you say that none of these religions is better than the religion that y'all play to, but y'all have a God that you can't see? But you go by faith in the Bible. Because every time I will go onto these debates, all they talk about is scripture. That's all. They talk about revelation. They talk about the rapture. But they say there's so much in the new command. They're not even in, Christians are not even in the Old Testament no more. They're in the New Testament. They're in the rapture. They're in the falling of man. It's like Christians want a war. Like Christians want God to come back and take them in all man's life, in all men, women, and children's life. They will leave their own children here to go to heaven. They believe their own animals here to go to heaven. That's some crazy shit. That is so selfish. That you want to go to heaven, but leave your children here because you think your children are not worthy enough to go to heaven. Then you say that you don't want gays to go to heaven. How do you think God feels about gays? Oh, God doesn't want gays to do this or that. Number one, he never said anything about gay people. He just said man should not sleep with man and women should not sleep with women. That don't mean he was calling people gay because they did that. They even Christians were sleeping around with boys. Look like priests were sleeping around with boys. Like, come on, like, are you serious? It's horrible that the religion has been proven to be one of the harshest religions in history and the most followed religion by blacks in history. It's crazy that they will use a religion to keep away from the truth that the things that are going on in this world. They want to criticize people that have normal lives just because they won't follow your God or follow your Jesus. You want us to turn, or you just want us to turn away from the life that we're living to go and give everything up to Him and say, well, we got to put God first. Well, honestly, you should put yourself first before you put any type of spiritual being in front of you because you can't see that person. You should put yourself first, then you should put your children first, and anything after that shall follow. Why do you need to put an entity in front of you that you never seen before and you can't prove exists? But you open up this book of these scriptures, all y'all do is just read a paragraph. Well, let me tell you what Matthew said in Duke 20:56. Like, who cares? I don't want to hear scripture. I want to know if they exist. They're saying science is starting to prove it. Science ain't proving shit because science sometimes lie. You know what I mean? We don't even know what to believe anymore because this is the good things why Christians want other people to follow their religion because they know that lies are coming to be so much. They believe that they spread truth more than anybody the fuck else. And knowing the Bible also spreads lies. And also produce nonprofits that say this will happen in this time and this will happen this time, knowing the book is 2,000 years old. Then people want to use mathematics to try to add up 225 or add 224 or add 2020. I mean, add 2030. Why? Why do you need a whole bunch of numbers to add up for God to come back? Why do you need uh, 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 something open in a book or a papaya scroll to come back? Why can't he just come back? Why can't he destroy Earth with a snap of a finger? Why do he needs to flood the Earth? Why is it that he so-called hated man at one point and try to flood the earth and kill off man, but he tried to save the animals? But the thing is that the funny thing is this is the funny thing about it, right? Noah Ark built this big ship for the animals, but people on earth wouldn't even save their animals for the rapture. Even though God saved millions of animals on Noah's Ark, but when the rapture came, people were leaving their animals. I don't get it. But they read the book of Noah, right? They read the story of Noah, knowing Noah took all the animals, one each, even insects and many other animals all over the earth. And next thing you know, you got human beings that have a rapture. They didn't want to take their cat and dog or their lizard or their snake or their whatever, but they will leave them to die like they did, like they would do their children. People gave up their children. This is the reason why they say, well, there's no such thing as real Christians. These Christians will never. Why would Christians do that? Because they've been doing that for a long time. They did that when they did the other rapture. And the other rapture, they left their kids, or they gave their kids up for adoption, or they gave up everything, just to save their own ass, just to get into heaven and say to be by God. People cried, "Oh my God, I can't be by God. I can't be by God." Why? You wasn't going to be by God in the first place. You wasn't going to get to know him. He's supposed to be a king. Which the thing is, like, people were like, well, I need him. Why do you need him? to survive. You've been living on this earth for how many, God knows how long you've been on this earth, and you've been doing well with yourself. Now you need God. This is why religion is such a cult. People are imaginary. Like they use their imaginary mind to create scenarios to say, well, this happens because of Christianity. This happened because they don't love God. This happened because of the devil. The devil talks to you. The devil makes you do all these things. No, human beings do things because human beings were created to do things on their own. We are very independent people. We know between right or wrong. If we want to kill somebody, we want to kill somebody. We want to rob somebody, we want to rob somebody. If we want to go and do what we want to do, we're going to do it. And we won't think twice about it. It has nothing to do with the devil. The devil doesn't make you do anything you don't want to do. You do it because you want to do it. I mean, and I always believe that they make God look so evil. Because why does humans always blame God and the devil for everything? Touchdown. Why do we always blame the devil for everything that we do wrong? Why we never blame ourselves for the things that we ever do wrong? Why do we never blame ourselves for the choices that we make, wrong or right? Why do we always blame the devil? Why is the devil always in our rearview mirror? Because we created the devil. Man created the devil by writing these stories about the devil and making the devil look red with a long tail and horns and making us go to hell and burn for eternity because that's what Christianity created. They created the devil. They created the way the devil should destroy man because we never became Christians. So the Christians will always be the ones that sit on top of the throne next to God, but a normal person can't sit on the throne next to God. And even if you don't believe in God, you have a choice to not wanting to believe in Him or you want to believe in Him. But like I said before, you got all these people out here that will try to force you into believing in something that has nothing to do with you. You just want to live your life as a normal person and enjoy life as a normal person, then die. But why do you want to worry about hell? Because people say, well, I put God in my life and God is always going to be part of my life. If He's part of your life, that's great. But don't try to shove your God in somebody else's pocket. Because, like I said, I want proof. I want proof that He exists. Why do I have to wait until I die to get proof? Why can't you prove to me while I'm alive and see if this entity, this spirit, this God that you call king is real? Because we want something to be a creator. Because the way we see the world is today, we're seeing so much things that are going on. We create images of the devil. We create the image of God to make it look like if we create these images of these characters, it won't be a problem for anybody else to look at them and say, you know what? They really do exist. But we're going to do it out of faith. We're not going to do it out of reality because reality doesn't set into people because they're so caught on in the faith, they forget about reality. Just like how 30 years ago the cell phone was created and people forgot about reality after the cell phone was created because everybody is so much into the cell phones and they believe the cell phones is actually reality. And it's not. When you put the cell phone down, then you're in actual reality. But people can't put the cell phone down to see reality. That's why the internet is such a great place for Christians to roam and try to keep on putting religion up on top of everything and not worship the God that they pray to or the Jesus they pray to. It's Christianity. They forget about God and Jesus. Half the time I think they do because they say, oh, my Lord and Savior Jesus. But why are you using religion as a way of praising them to? And why do you hate other people that don't follow? It's so sad, yo. I'm off this thing because it's driving me nuts to think that for 2,000 years, I thought that religion would die out, but it never has. And the only reason why religion hasn't died out because you still have people believing that religion is the one that sets the preferences of everybody's life. And nobody else can live a regular life. But they got to have God and Jesus by their side. It doesn't make any sense. I just want to live my life and die. If it's a creator, there's a creator. I can't do nothing about that. And I never will fear a creator.